and an excellent Wednesday afternoon or evening or Thursday morning to all of you who are watching us live. How are you, everybody? This is the Chattering Magpie. We are here to do an Anne of Green Gables read-along. I am joined by the gang. Hello, gang. How are you doing, Miss Chief?
Hello.
Don't you hear the excitement? Yeah, okay. At least there's some excitement there. They are so excited, you guys, because we have finally gotten to the last Anne of Green Gables read-along. I don't know. How do you guys feel about this being the last Anne of Green Gables read-along?
I'm gonna miss it. I want to do the other ones.
So Patrick once more. What about, I think I heard Yukihime somewhere. Yukihime, where are you? What did he say?
Yeah, I miss it. It was fun. I love those characters, and it was very interesting. Like seeing the anime, and also reading the book and seeing the differences, the similarities, what they kept, what they had to give away for time. Like it was very interesting. The comparison.
Sweet. Yeah, I think you only watched Anne with an E, right? And that's where you got most of your Anne knowledge from. Before.
Yeah, and after that, I'm keeping up with the anime that is airing right now. You guys.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to also watch with us, and we're doing it on Sundays, come and join us. Become a YouTube member.
Thank you for that, Yukihime. Yes, indeed.
Join us. Join us.
Yes.
Join us.
We are watching Anne Shirley, the anime, over on the server every Sunday, so your Anne Shirley journey doesn't have to end. There's 6 more books, all related to Anne after Anne of Green Gables. And the anime is still gonna do a second core. It's like we actually started the second core. No, actually, we haven't started it yet, right? We haven't yet started the second core. We watched episode 11, I believe, just this past weekend. So we still have plenty more to watch. And then if you also want to have more Ella Montgomery, I here will plug my channel, the Chatting Magpie Reads. I did the very first book I read over there was Ella Montgomery's The Blue Castle, which in my opinion is funny and cute and romantic, and it's a blend of all kinds of fun stuff. So check it out. Unfortunately though, the gang didn't read it. I did all the voices. So it's a different experience, but I read it. So if you don't mind it, then hop on over there.
If you are a fan from when Magpie was reading the Ascendance of a Bookworm series by herself, then it's a return to form.
Yeah, that's nostalgic. Man, how long has that been? Yeah. So today we are going to be finishing up Anne of Green Gables, like I said. Anybody else have any thoughts about how they're feeling? I think I've only heard 1 or 2 people. Anybody else want to share what they feel? Their feelings at reaching this point?
I know how Fergie feels.
Don't. Leave Fergie alone.
I tried to summate my thoughts in chat.
Okay. You know what? Thank you. With that beautiful segue, let's go into the live chat. The very first person on there, early gang, was Yukihime. Hello, Yukihime. Says, hey, I am glad I got to read this nice book with you guys. I hope I can get myself to read the other volumes, as it was fascinating seeing the comparison between the original and the anime adaptation. Oh yes, we're gonna get to see Anne, and there's still a lot for her to learn and to grow. So check it out. Because at this point, Anne is only like 16 or 15, 16. So she's not like an adult that knows everything. Like she's still...
Well, I mean, for the time, she's counted as an adult, I think.
Well, yeah, but she still has a lot of maturing to go. So Teal is also there, says, all we did was put one foot in front of the other these several weeks, but now we found another bend in the road, one book closed, another about to open. Aw, yes, okay. I love how you incorporated the chapter title in there. Lovely. And yes, one book close. So we are ending Anne of Green Gables, but we are starting Count of Monte Cristo. That was my accent. The Count of Sorry, you guys.
You can't do it without the accent.
How many times have I made an idiot of myself today? Probably 1, 2, 3. Who knows? Count of Monte Cristo. We're gonna read that.
Too many times to count.
Yes.
I'm glad someone picked up the reference there.
Yes, I picked it up too. Beloved characters notwithstanding, let's continue on. So yeah, we're reading The Count of Monte Cristo over on the other channel. I think I've been harping on it for like a few days now, so that's because I want you guys to join us. Then also Tio says, but I know I and my fellow bookworms will never not dare to crack open the next book no matter what may await us. Yes, continue reading Ella Montgomery's works. If you like Anne of Green Gables and you already read Blue Castle, I also encourage you to read the Emily books. They're a little bit different. The tone is significantly different, but they're also very, very good. Little Butterfly is also with us. Says hi. Hello, Butterfly. And White Rose K is here. Hello. Says, I'm not ready for the book to end. I know, neither am I, because the book is good and also because the company is great. But then I get to hang out with them.
We should continue with the others in the series.
Yes. Well, me? No. I know. There we have to go to count.
I know.
I know. But good things come to an end, indeed. Also, Crusher's here, and the chat says, what a great journey this was. And also, is that JC Fergie I see? Hello! Yes, it is indeed. But don't jinx it. Please don't jinx it.
He's not going to stay.
I don't want...
As soon as we start reading...
I know. I don't want to breathe wrong in case he leaves. It's like one of those like pretty birds that you see out in the wild and you just have to stay really still and try to like look at it, not directly, but like look at it off the corner of your eye. You guys, that's kind of like the situation with Fergie. Sorry,
Fergie, how do you feel about being compared with a rare bird?
Right. I mean, what's not to love about birds? Birds are the greatest, you guys. All right, so I have an inkling though that Fergie's not with us. He just went to like make himself a sandwich and play a game, and he's just here humoring us. So we appreciate your honorific presence, even if you're not listening. All right, so you guys, enough of this nonsense. No more lollygagging. Let's start with our read along. Today we're finishing up again for the third time I'm saying this. We're finishing up Anne of Green Gables. We're going to be doing chapter 37 and 38. The last time that we read was chapter 36, ended with like these like ominous words. Let me go back to see chapter 36. I was like, yo, on the nose a little. Oh. Sorry, I got lost. I thought we had... Sorry. The last one was all about Anne returning from Queens. And she is, spending a great summer. And the book ends, with saying... What was it that it says? It says... No life is quite ever the same once the cold, sanctifying touch has been laid upon it, grief. Says, and always remember that silvery, peaceful beauty and calm of the night. It was the last night before sorrow touched her life. We're like, what sorrow? What's happening? What? Why? Well, if you watch the anime, you will know what it is. If you haven't, then you will find out. All right, today reading with us is Teal. She will be reading Marilla. Yukihime, who will be reading Anne. Patrick, who will be reading Mrs. Rachel, Diana, and Gilbert. And Butterfly,
Wait,
who will...
I'm also reading Diana? What?
Sorry.
I thought I was reading Diana.
That was... Oh, look, my mom is calling. I'm going to have to answer her later because we're on a roll, you guys. Okay. Sorry. So pardon the confusion. I blame my mom who's calling.
Mama, Magpie be calling.
Yeah. Patrick is reading Mrs. Rachel and Matthew and Gilbert. There we go. Is that right? Yes?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and Little Purple Butterfly is going to be reading Diana and Mrs. Allen. And I shall be narrator and highlights done by our gracious Teal. Teal, thank you so much for highlighting today. All right, let's get this started. Chapter 37. The Reaper whose name is Death.
Matthew? What's the matter? Matthew, are you sick?
It was Marilla who spoke, alarm in every jerky word. Anne came through the hall, her hands full of white narcissus. It was long before Anne could love the sight or odor of white narcissus again. In time to hear her and to see Matthew standing in the porch doorway, a folded paper in his hand, and his face strangely drawn and gray. Anne dropped her flowers and sprang across the kitchen to him at the same moment as Marilla. They were both too late. Before they could reach him, Matthew had fallen across the threshold.
He's fainted. Anne, run for Martin. Quick! He's at the barn.
Martin, the hired man, who had just driven home from the post office, started at once for the doctor, calling at Orchard Slope on his way to send Mr. and Mrs. Barry over. Mrs. Lynde, who was there on an errand, came too. They found Anne and Marilla distractedly trying to restore Matthew to consciousness. Mrs. Lynde pushed them gently aside, tried his pulse, and then laid her ear over his heart. She looked at their anxious faces sorrowfully, and the tears came into her eyes.
Oh, Marilla. Oh, Marilla.
She said.
I don't think we... Sorry. I don't think we can do anything for him.
Mrs. Lynde, you don't think Matthew is...
Anne could not say the dreadful word. She turned sick and pallid.
Child, yes. I'm afraid of it. Look at his face. When you've seen that look as often as I have, you'll know what it means.
Anne looked at the still face, and there beheld the seal of the Great Presence. When the doctor came, he said that death had been instantaneous and probably painless, caused in all likelihood by some sudden shock. The secret of the shock was discovered to be in the paper Matthew held and which Martin had brought from the office that morning. It contained an account of the failure of the Abbey Bank. The news spread quickly through Avonlea, and all day friends and neighbors thronged Green Gables and came and went on errands of kindness for the dead and living. For the first time, shy, quiet Matthew Cuthbert was a person of central importance. The white majesty of death had fallen on him and set him apart as one crowned. When the calm night came softly down over Green Gables, the old house was hushed and tranquil. In the parlor lay Matthew Cuthbert in his coffin, his long gray hair framing his placid face, in which there was a little kindly smile, as if he but slept, dreaming pleasant dreams. There were flowers about him, sweet old-fashioned flowers which his mother had planted in the homestead garden in her bridal days, and for which Matthew had always had a secret, worldless love. Anne had gathered them and brought them to him. her anguished, tearless eyes burning in her white face. It was the last thing she could do for him. The Barrys and Mrs. Lynde stayed with them that night. Diana, going to the east gable, where Anne was standing at her window, said gently,
"Anne, dear, would you like to have me sleep with you tonight?"
Thank you, Diana.
Anne looked earnestly into her friend's face.
I think you won't misunderstand me when I say I want to be alone. I'm not afraid. I haven't been alone 1 minute since it happened, and I want to be. I want to be quiet, silent, and quiet, and try to realize it. I can't realize it. Half the time it seems to me that Matthew can't be dead, and the other half it seems as if he must have been dead for a long time, and I've had this horrible dull ache ever since.
Diana did not quite understand. Marilla's impassioned grief, breaking all the bounds of natural reserve and lifelong habit in its stormy rush, she could comprehend better than Anne's tearless agony. But she went away kindly, leaving Anne alone to keep her first vigil with sorrow. Anne hoped that the tears would come in solitude. It seemed to her a terrible thing that she could not shed a tear for Matthew, whom she had loved so much and who had been so kind to her. Matthew, who had walked with her last evening at sunset and was now lying in the dim room below with that awful peace in his brow. But no tears came at first. Even when she knelt by her window in the darkness and prayed, looking up to the stars beyond the hills. No tears. Only the same horrible dull ache of misery that kept on aching until she fell asleep, worn out with the day's pain and excitement. In the night she awakened with the stillness and darkness about her, and the recollection of the day came over her like a wave of sorrow. She could see Matthew's face smiling at her as he had smiled when they parted at the gate last evening. She could hear his voice saying,
My girl that I'm proud of.
Then the tears came, and Anne wept her heart out. Marilla heard her and crept in to comfort her.
There, there. Don't cry so, dearie. It can't bring him back. It isn't right to cry so. I knew that today, but I couldn't help it then. He'd always been such a good, kind brother to me. But God knows best.
Just let me cry, Marilla,
Sobbed Anne.
the tears don't hurt me like the ache did. Stay here for a little while with me and keep your arm around me so. I couldn't have Diana stay. She's good and kind and sweet, but it's not her sorrow. It's outside of it, and she couldn't come close enough to my heart to help me. It's our sorrow, yours and mine. Oh, Marilla, what will we do without him?
We've got each other, Anne. I don't know what I'd do if you weren't here. If you'd never come. Oh, Anne, I know I've been kind of strict and harsh with you, maybe, but you mustn't think I didn't love you as well as Matthew did for all that. I want to tell you now when I can. It's never been easy for me to say things out of my heart, but at times like this, it's easier. I love you as dear as if you were my own flesh and blood, and you've been my joy and comfort ever since you came to Green Gables.
2 days afterwards, they carried Matthew Cuthbert over his homestead threshold, and away from the fields he had tilled, and the orchards he had loved, and the trees he had planted. And then Avonlea settled back to its usual placidity, and even at Green Gables affairs slipped into their old groove, and work was done, and duties fulfilled with regularity as before, although always with the aching sense of loss in all familiar things. Anne, new to grief, thought it almost sad that it could be so, that they could go on in the old way without Matthew. She felt something like shame and remorse when she discovered that the sun races behind the firs and the pale pink buds opening in the garden gave her the old inrush of gladness when she saw them. That Diana's visits were pleasant to her, and that Diana's merry words and ways moved her to laughter and smiles. That, in brief, the beautiful world of blossom and love and friendship had lost none of its power to please her fancy and thrill her heart. That life still called to her with many insistent voices.
It seems like disloyalty to Matthew somehow. I find pleasure in these things now that he has gone,
she said wistfully to Mrs. Allen one evening when they were together in the manse garden.
I mean, it seems so much all the time, and yet, Mrs. Allen, the world and life seem very beautiful and interesting to me for all. Today, Diana said something funny, and I found myself laughing. I thought when it happened I could never laugh again, and it somehow seems as if I oughtn't to.
When Matthew was here, he liked to hear you laugh, and he liked to know that you found pleasure in the or found pleasure in the pleasant things around you.
Said Mrs. Allen gently.
He is just away now, and he likes to know it just the same. I'm sure we should not shut our hearts against the healing influences that nature offers us, but I can understand your feeling. I think we all experience the same thing. The we resent the thought that anything can please us when someone we love is no longer here to share the pleasure with us. And we almost feel as if we were unfaithful to our sorrow when we find the interest in life return to us.
I was down to the graveyard to plant a rose bush on Matthew's grave this afternoon,
Said Anne dreamily.
and I took a slip of the little white Scotch rosebush his mother brought out from Scotland long ago. Matthew has always liked those roses the best. They were so small and sweet on their thorny stems. It made me feel glad that I would plant it by his grave, as if I were doing something that must please him in taking it there to be near him. I hope he has roses like them in heaven. Perhaps the souls of all those little white roses that he has loved so many summers were all there to meet him. I must go home now. Marilla is all alone and she gets lonely at twilight.
She will be lonelier still, I fear, when you go away to college.
Said Mrs. Allen. Anne did not reply. She said good night and went slowly back to Green Gables. Marilla was sitting on the front door steps, and Anne sat down beside her. The door was open behind them, held back by a big pink conch shell with hints of sea sunsets in its smooth inner convolutions. Anne gathered some sprays of pale yellow honeysuckle and put them in her hair. She liked the delicious hint of fragrance as some aerial benediction above her every time she moved.
Dr. Spencer was here while you were away.
said
He
Marilla.
says that the specialist will be in town tomorrow, and he insists that I must go in and have my eyes examined. I suppose I'd better go and have it over. I'll be more thankful if the man can give me the right kind of glasses to suit my eyes. You won't mind staying here alone while I'm away, will you? Martin will have to drive me in, and there's ironing and baking to do.
I shall be all right. Diana will come over for company for me. I shall attend to the ironing and baking beautifully. You needn't fear that I'll scratch the handkerchiefs or flavor the cake with liniment.
Marilla laughed.
What a girl you were for making mistakes in them days, Anne. You were always getting into scrapes. I did used to think you were possessed. Do you mind the time you dyed your hair?
Yes, indeed. I shall never forget it,
smiled Anne, touching the heavy braid of hair that was wound about her shapely head.
I laugh a little now. Sometimes when I think what a worry my hair used to be to me, but I don't laugh much because it was a very real trouble then. I did suffer terribly over my hair and my freckles. My freckles are really gone, and people are nice enough to tell me my hair is auburn now, all but Josie Pye. She informed me yesterday that she really thought it was redder than ever. At least my black dress made it look redder. She asked me if people who had red hair ever got used to having it. Marilla, I've almost decided to give up trying to like Josie Pye. I've made what I would once have called a heroic effort to like her, but Josie Pye won't be liked.
Josie is a pie,
said Marilla sharply.
so she can't help being disagreeable. I suppose people of that kind serve some useful purpose in society, but I must say I don't know what it is any more than I know the use of thistles. Is Josie going to teach?
No, she is going back to Queen's next year. So are Moody Spurgeon and Charlie Sloan. Jane and Ruby are going to teach, and they have both got schools. Jane at Newbridge and Ruby at some place up west.
Gilbert Blythe is going to teach too, isn't he?
Yes.
Briefly.
What a nice-looking fellow he is,
said Marilla absently.
I saw him in church last Sunday, and he seems so tall and manly. He looks a lot like his father did at the same age. John Blythe was a nice boy. We used to be real good friends, he and I. People called him my beau.
Anne looked up with swift interest.
Oh, Marilla, what happened? Why didn't you?
We had a quarrel. I wouldn't forgive him when he asked me to. I meant to, after a while. But I was sulky and angry, and I wanted to punish him first. He never came back. The Blythes were all mighty independent, but I always felt rather sorry. Always kind of wished I'd forgiven him when I had the chance.
So you've had a bit of a romance in your life too,
said Anne softly.
Yes, I suppose you might call it that. You wouldn't think so to look at me, would you? But you never can tell about people from their outsides. Everybody has forgot about me and John. I'd forgotten myself. But it all came back to me when I saw Gilbert last Sunday.
End of chapter. Shall we move on? Or do you guys want to talk about this chapter?
Well,
that little drum,
I mean,
that little bomb drop.
it's so weird that it's just here and gone, and they don't really talk much about the morning. It's just so quick and over with.
Sometimes that's how it is, honestly. Life just has to go on. Like, you have to still do your chores, and eat and sleep and live. And yeah. Time just passes.
Yeah, I guess that makes
Certainly
sense.
there
It just
Yeah.
feels so unsatisfying, you know?
Mm. I feel like it's realistic, and also I like uh, how it's said. So like the whole thing of just it feels unfaithful to just live life and be happy, maybe have moments of happiness, have moments of laughter, but no, that's actually what happens. You think you're never gonna smile again, or you think you're never gonna laugh again, or at least maybe for months, but yeah, something small happens and then you smile or laugh the next week after you lost someone.
Yeah.
Also,
I find that
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I find that I'm a lot like Anne in this situation. It's really hard for me to cry, but I actually force myself to cry when I know I need it.
Yeah, I think people process grief differently, yeah? And
Yeah, that's definitely the thing.
yeah. Like, okay, not to give a huge tangent, but like, crying actually helps. Like, it just kind of helps as a release, but a lot of times, yeah, you can't cry. When I experience grief, I also can't cry, and I get like stomach aches. Like all the emotions just go to my stomach, and I get like these awful cramps and stomach aches, and they don't go away until I cry. But again, like I have to like force myself to cry. So I'm with you, little butterfly. But again, like people grieve differently. So there's really no wrong or right way to grieve.
Yeah,
And I think
but
for Ella Montgomery, one of the things that her 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 goal for this book probably was like to bring happiness. So I guess that's why she didn't want to dwell too much on the grieving process. But she did, I think, address it. It was important that she address it with Anne's conversation with
that's fair.
Mrs. Allen. You were
By
gonna
the
say
way, can
something
we
else.
talk about the cat?
Special.
I
Did anyone-
apologize.
Oh, that was your cat.
No.
Okay.
Do not apologize.
I was given my lines, and then my cat's just like, "Hey, pay attention to me. What are you doing?"
Oh, we have to make your cat an honorary member of this server. What's its name?
Skittles.
Oh my gosh, Skittles! How delightful!
There is nothing wrong with the cat meowing. It's just, I heard, I'm like, who was it? Whose cat is it? I don't know whose cat this is.
Well, tell Skittles that he is very welcome to show up anytime he wants. He's a welcome interruption in my book. Yes, I am a cat
I think
person.
she already knows.
I don't think she cares. She's just like, I will make my presence
Right.
known whenever. It's a cat, so
Mhm.
cats are like that. Yep.
And he's like, hey, pay attention to me, damn it.
Yep. I might be an empress, but I know who my overlords are. Yes, I also heard the cat. I was actually hoping that it wasn't my imagination, and then I saw Patrick mention it in the chat. I was like, yes, it wasn't my imagination, and it wasn't like a neighbor outside. It was in the chat.
I actually privately messaged Butterfly because I saw her light up at the same time. Like, must be hers. It's got to be hers. And she's like, nope.
Nope, I don't have a cat.
You really went investigating, like questioning people. Is it your cat? No. Is it your cat?
What are you doing
say no.
investigating those? You're gonna distract them from their reading.
Look! I'm like a dog with a bone. I need to know.
All right. So we got a cat, an honorary member. Thank you for that. Anything else? Okay, you guys. Like the very first thing I wanted to talk about, because I'm wired this way, is the romance between Marilla and Gilbert's dad. If it hadn't been because Marilla was too proud.
Why didn't they mention this in the anime? Damn it! I want to know these things.
Wait, they didn't mention it, right? They didn't?
No, not at all.
Are you sure? I have a. That is so mean. That's
maybe
so
because
mean.
maybe because you've read the book before, but I never saw it or heard this before at all. I'm like, what? They had some hints earlier, but they never flat out said who it was that she was in a relationship with.
Yep.
It's so perfect too because it contains a warning. Marilla was much in the same way as Anne. She got too stubborn about whatever little fight, and they never reconnected. And Anne seems to be more conscious of Gilbert these days, but she still has that little.
Yeah, she will not
block.
Yep.
It's so poetic in a way because I mean, like Teal just said, it's so relevant to Anne, and throughout the story so far, we've had so many people say, you know, Anne, you're a lot like Marilla when she was your age, and yeah.
I wonder how much. Sorry, I have to ask myself, and I ask you guys. I'm not an Ella Montgomery scholar by any stretch of the imagination. I have read her biography, and I know she was a social person. She had friendships and stuff. I want to know though, like how much of this situation about being too proud and stuff like that, because it shows up. Like these stupid quarrels show up again and again in her writing. So, or like misunderstandings, and you're just too proud to go and fix it. And then you waste years.
Perhaps it's a self-insert.
Yes, that's what I want to know. And who was it? So I know for sure that Emily of New Moon had it as well. It was a huge issue in there, though. What was it?
I think she had a bit of a thing with like her publisher or something, but that didn't work out. And then the guy she married, it didn't really work out, and then she died.
Yeah.
But there could be some truth in it. I think we always put traces of ourselves in our writing, even if we don't mean to.
True. We will talk about
Magpie, putting yourself in your fanfics.
Okay, you guys. I don't want to veer into a world away because most of the folks here don't know, don't care. But I resent that. Come on. Why?
But we care.
Hey Chad, do you care if we talk about her fanfics? Because if you want to know more about her fanfics, join us over on the Chatting Magpie Reads. We definitely read the aforementioned book. I was a very well enjoyed Eckhart, and even if I must plug myself.
That's okay. You must do it if you must. Go ahead. We can talk about this some other time though, because we're talking about Anne of Green Gables and we haven't finished yet. And also because I don't want you guys to like pry too much, because then I might say something stupid and make an idiot of myself for the third time in this live.
Oh, then we must absolutely pry some more.
No. Especially not because
I think we're at a bend in the road and we should veer toward Anne of Green Gables.
Yes, thank you, Teal. Thank you. I'm very much obliged. All right, darlings, let's finish the last chapter. It is with a heavy but thankful heart that we are reading the last chapter, so enjoy it. Yeah, let's do this. Chapter 38. The Bend in the Road. Marilla went to town the next day and returned in the evening. Anne had gone over to Orchard Slope with Diana and came back to find Marilla in the kitchen, sitting by the table, with her head leaning on her hand. Something in her dejected attitude struck a chill to Anne's heart. She had never seen Marilla sit limply inert like that.
Are you very tired, Marilla?
Yes. No, I don't know.
said Marilla wearily, looking up.
I suppose I am tired, but I haven't thought about it. It's not that.
Did you see the occultist? What did he say?
Said Anne anxiously.
Yes, I saw him. He examined my eyes. He says that if I give up all reading and sewing entirely, and any kind of work that strains the eyes, and if I'm careful not to cry, and if I wear the glasses he's given me, he thinks my eyes may not get any worse, and my headaches will be cured. But if I don't, he says I'll certainly be stone blind in 6 months. Blind! Anne, just think of it.
For a minute, Anne, after her first quick exclamation of dismay, was silent. It seemed to her that she could not speak. Then she said bravely, but with a catch in her voice.
Marilla, don't think of it. You know he has given you hope. If you are careful, you won't lose your sight altogether. And if his glasses cure your headaches, it will be a great thing.
I don't call it much hope,
said Marilla bitterly.
What am I to live for if I can't read or sew or do anything like that? I might as well be blind. Or dead. And as for crying, I can't help that when I get lonesome. But there, it's no good talking about it. If you'll get me a cup of tea, I'll be thankful. I'm about done out. Don't say anything about this to anyone for a spell yet, anyway. I can't bear that folks should come here to question and sympathize and talk about it.
When Marilla had eaten her lunch, Anne persuaded her to go to bed. Then Anne went herself to the east gable and sat down by her window in the darkness, alone with her tears and her heaviness of heart. How sadly things had changed since she had sat there the night after coming home. Then she had been full of hope and joy, and the future had looked rosy with promise. Anne felt as if she had lived years since then. But before she went to bed, there was a smile on her lips and peace in her heart. She had looked her duty courageously in the face and found it a friend, as duty ever is when we meet it frankly. One afternoon a few days later, Marilla came slowly in from the front yard, where she had been talking to a caller, a man whom Anne knew by sight as Sadler from Carmody. Anne wondered what he could have been saying to bring that look to Marilla's face.
What did Miss Sadler want, Marilla?
Marilla sat down by the window and looked at Anne. There were tears in her eyes in defiance of the oculist's prohibition, and her voice broke as she said,
He heard that I was going to sell Green Gables, and he wants to buy it.
Buy it? Buy Green Gables?
Anne wondered if she had heard aright.
Oh, Marilla, you don't mean to sell Green Gables.
Anne, I don't know what else is to be done. I've thought it all over. If my eyes were strong, I could stay here and make out to look after things and manage with a good hired man. But as it is, I can't. I may lose my sight altogether. And anyway, I'll not be fit to run things. Oh, I never thought I'd live to see the day when I'd have to sell my home. But things would only go behind worse and worse all the time till nobody would want to buy it. Every cent of our money went in that bank, and there's some notes Matthew gave last fall to pay. Mrs. Lynde advises me to sell the farm and board somewhere. With her, I suppose. It won't bring much. It's small and the buildings are old, but it'll be enough for me to live on, I reckon. I'm thankful you've provided for with that scholarship, Anne. I'm sorry you won't have a home to come to in your vacations. That's all. But I suppose you'll manage somehow.
Marilla broke down and wept bitterly.
You mustn't sell Green Gables,
said Anne resolutely.
Oh, Anne, I wish I didn't have to. But you can see for yourself. I can't stay here alone. I'd go crazy with trouble and loneliness, and my sight would go. I know it would.
You won't have to stay here alone, Marilla. I'll be with you. I'm not going to Redmond.
Not going to Redmond?
Marilla lifted her worn face from her hands and looked at Anne.
Why, what do you mean?
Just what I say. I'm not going to take the scholarship. I decided so the night after you came home from town. You surely don't think I could leave you alone in your trouble, Marilla, after all you've done for me? I've been thinking and planning. Let me tell you my plans. Mr. Barry wants to rent the farm for next year, so you won't have any bother over that. And I'm going to teach. I've applied for the school here, but I don't expect to get it, for I understand the trustees have promised it to Gilbert Blythe. But I can have the Carmody School. Mr. Blair told me so last night at the store. Of course, that won't be quite as nice or convenient as if I had the Avonlea School, but I can board home and drive myself over to Carmody and back, in the warm weather at least. And even in winter, I can come home from Fridays. We'll keep a horse for that. Oh, I have it all planned out, Marilla, and I'll read to you and keep you cheered up. You shan't be dull or lonesome, and we'll be real cozy and happy here together, you and I.
Marilla had listened like a woman in a dream.
Oh, Anne, I could get on real well if you were here. I know. But I can't let you sacrifice yourself so for me. It would be terrible.
Nonsense!
Anne laughed merrily.
There is no sacrifice. Nothing could be worse than giving up Green Gables. Nothing could hurt me more. We must keep the dear old place. My mind is quite made up, Marilla. I am not going to Redmond, and I am going to stay here and teach. Don't you worry about it.
But your ambitions and...
I'm just as ambitious as ever, only I've changed the object of my ambitions. I'm going to be a good teacher and I'm going to save your eyesight. Besides, I mean to study at home here and take a little college course all by myself. Oh, I've dozens of plans, Marilla. I've been thinking them out for 1 week. I shall give life here my best, and I believe it will give its best to me in return. When I left Queens, my future seemed to stretch out before me like a straight road. I thought I could see along it for many a milestone. Now there is a bend in it. I don't know what lies around the bend, but I'm going to believe that the best does. It has a fascination of its own, that bend, Marilla. I wonder how the road beyond it goes. What there is of green glory and soft checkered light and shadows, what new landscapes, what new beauties, what curves and hills and valleys further on.
I don't feel as if I ought to let you give it up,
said Marilla, referring to the scholarship.
But you can't prevent me. I'm 16 and a half, obstinate as a mule, as Mrs. Lynde once told me. Oh, Marilla, don't you go pitying me. I don't like to be pitied, and there is no need for it. I'm heart glad over the very thought of staying at dear Green Gables. Nobody could love it as you and I do, so we must keep it.
You blessed girl. I feel as if you've given me new life. I guess I ought to stick out and make you go to college. But I know I can't, so I ain't gonna try. I'll make it up to you, though, Anne.
When it became noised abroad in Avonlea that Anne Shirley had given up the idea of going to college and intended to stay home and teach there was a good deal of discussion over it. Most of the good folks, not knowing about Marilla's eyes, thought she was foolish. Mrs. Allen did not. She told Anne so in approving words that brought tears of pleasure to the girl's eyes. Neither did good Mrs. Lynde. She came up one evening and found Anne and Marilla sitting at the front door in the warm, scented summer dusk. They liked to sit there when the twilight came down, and the white moths flew about in the garden, and the odor of mint filled the dewy air. Mrs. Rachel deposited her substantial person upon the stone bench by the door, behind which grew a row of tall pink and yellow hollyhocks, with a long breath of mingled weariness and relief.
I declare, I'm getting glad to sit down. I've been on my feet all day, and 200 pounds is a good bit for 2 feet to carry around. It's a great blessing not to be fat, Marilla. I hope you appreciate it. Well, Anne, I hear you've given up your notion of going to college. I was really glad to hear it. You've got as much education now as a woman can be comfortable with. I don't believe in girls going to college and with men and cramming their heads full of Latin and Greek and all that nonsense.
But I'm going to study Latin and Greek just the same, Mrs. Lind.
said Anne, laughing.
I'm going to take my arts course right here at Green Gables and study everything that I want at college.
Mrs. Lynde lifted her eyes in holy horror.
Anne Shirley, you'll kill yourself.
Not a bit of it. I shall thrive on it. Oh, I'm not going to overdo things. As Josiah Allen's wife says, I shall be medium. But I'll have lots of spare time in the long winter evenings, and I've no vocation for fancy work. I'm going to teach over at Carmody, you know.
I don't know it. I guess you'll. I guess you're going to teach here in Avonlea. Oh, I'm sorry. I should reread that. I don't know it. I guess you're going to be teaching here in Avonlea. The trustees have decided to give you the school.
Mrs. Linde,
Cried Anne, springing to her feet in her surprise.
why, I thought they had promised it to Gilbert Blythe.
So they did. But as soon as Gilbert heard that you had applied for it, he went to them. He had a business meeting at the school last night, you know, and told them that he withdrew his application and suggested that they accept yours. He said he was going to teach at White Sands. Of course, he knew how much you wanted to stay with Marilla, and I must say, I think it was a real kind and thought. I think it was real kind and thoughtful in him. That's what. Real self-sacrificing too, for he'll have his board to pay at White Sands, and everybody knows he's got to earn his own way through college. So the trustees decided to take you. I I was tickled to death when Thomas came home and told me.
I don't feel that I ought to take it.
Murmured Anne.
I mean, I don't think I ought to let Gilbert make such a sacrifice for me.
I guess you can't prevent him now. He signed papers with the White Sands trustees. So it wouldn't do him any good now if you were to refuse. Of course, you'll take the school. You'll get going. You'll get along all right. Now that there are no pies going. Josie was the last of them, and good thing she was, that's what. There's been some pie or other going to Avonlea School for the last 20 years. And I guess their mission in life was to keep school teachers reminded that Earth isn't their home. Bless my heart. What does all that winking and blinking at the Barry Gable mean?
Then I signaling for me to go over.
Laughed Anne.
You know we keep up the old custom. Excuse me while I run over and see what she wants.
Anne ran down the clover slope like a deer and disappeared in the furry shadows of the haunted wood. Mrs. Lynde looked after her indulgently.
There is a good deal of the child about her yet in some ways.
There's a good deal more of the woman about her in others,
Retorted Marilla with a momentary return of her old crispness. But crispness was no longer Marilla's distinguishing characteristic, as Mrs. Lynde told her Thomas that night.
Marilla Cuthbert has gotten mellow. That's what.
Anne went to the little Avonlea graveyard the next evening to put fresh flowers on Matthew's grave and water the Scotch rosebush. She lingered there until dusk, liking the peace and calm of the little place, with its poplars whose rustle was like low, friendly speech, and its whispering grasses growing at will among the graves. When she finally left it and walked down the long hill that sloped to the Lake of Shining Waters, it was past sunset, and all Avonlea lay before her in a dreamlike afterlight, a haunt of ancient peace. There was a freshness in the air as of a wind that had blown over honey-sweet fields of clover. Home lights twinkled out here and there among the homestead trees. Beyond lay the sea, misty and purple, with its haunting, unceasing murmur. The west was a glory of soft mingled hues, and the pond reflected them all in its still softer shadings. The beauty of it all thrilled Anne's heart, and she gratefully opened the gates of her soul to it.
Dear old world,
She murmured.
you are very lovely, and I am glad to be alive in you.
Halfway down the hill, a tall lad came whistling out of a gate before the Blythe homestead. It was Gilbert, and the whistle died on his lips as he recognized Anne. He lifted his cap courteously, but he could have passed on in silence if Anne had not stopped and held out her hand.
Gilbert,
She said with scarlet cheeks.
I want to thank you for giving up the school for me. It was very good of you, and I want you to know that I appreciate it.
Gilbert took the offered hand eagerly.
It wasn't particularly good of me at all, Anne. I was pleased to be able to do you some small service. Are we going to be friends after this? Have you really forgiven me my old fault?
Anne laughed and tried unsuccessfully to withdraw her hand.
I forgave you that day by the pond landing, although I didn't know it. What a stubborn little goose I was. I, I may as well make a complete confession. I've been sorry ever since.
We're going to be the best of friends,
Said Gilbert jubilantly.
We were born to be good friends, Anne. You've thwarted destiny enough. I know we can help each other in many ways. You are going to keep up your studies, aren't you? So am I. Come, I'm going to walk home with you.
Marilla looked curiously at Anne when the latter entered the kitchen.
Who was that came up the lane with you, Anne?
Gilbert Blythe?
Answered Anne, vexed to find herself blushing.
I met him on Barry's Hill.
I didn't think you and Gilbert Blythe were such good friends that you'd stand for half an hour at the gate talking to him,
said Marilla with a dry smile.
We've been good enemies. But we have decided that it will be much more sensible to be good friends in the future. Were we really there for half an hour? It seemed just a few minutes, but you see, we have 5 years lost of conversation to catch up with, Marilla.
Anne sat long at her window that night, companioned by a glad content. The wind purred softly in the cherry boughs, and the mint breaths came up to her. The stars twinkled over the pointed firs in the hollow, and Diana's light gleamed through the old gap. Anne's horizons had closed in since the night she had sat there after coming home from Queen's. But if the path set before her feet was to be narrow, she knew that flowers of quiet happiness would bloom along it. The joy of sincere work and worthy aspiration and congenial friendship were to be hers. Nothing could rob her of her birthright of fancy or her ideal world of dreams. And there was always the bend in the road.
God's in heaven, all rights with the world,
Whispered Anne softly. The end.
It's too soon.
Yes. Well, the ship is finally setting sail, as Patrick says in the chat. But
We all knew it was coming, but they sure took their sweet time getting there.
right. Oh look, Patrick supported with a celebratory super. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, there you go.
Super. Thanks for the super chat. And look, Akihana is with us too. Akihana, good morning, darling. Rise and shine, right? How are you?
Crusher is also with us, but he's
Why,
not
Crusher?
joining us in
Why not,
voice.
Crusher?
What-
Get
what a
over
jerk.
here. No, don't call him names. Don't call anybody names. Not in this house.
Crusher.
So let's see. Crusher says, well, White Rose said, not ready for the book to end. It ended, but, you know, good, like you said, good things do come to an end. But you need not fear, there's 6 more books featuring Anne. Maybe it's side characters and stuff. You'll see as you go on. So it's not the end of Anne. Just our journey with her live ends. But check out the books. Let's see. Eva Jenna. By the way, Eva Jenna, is this your first time during the Anne read-alongs that you join us? Because if so, welcome, and I'm happy to see you. Little Butterfly points out that these 2 chapters are really pulling on the heartstrings. Ooh, yeah. So let's talk about what happened in the last chapter. I know we got Matthew dying in chapter 37, but chapter 38 is also a pretty big thing happening. What happened?
What else happened? I mean, Gilbert and Anne finally are reconciling, and we know what's going to happen next.
I know.
Love, marriage,
But we
baby
know,
and baby carriage.
but we know that there's more than just romance in this world. I know. I can't believe I'm saying this. There's more to life than romance. There's more to chapter 38 than the ship sailing. Gilbert aside, we will talk about Gilbert. Don't worry. We will return. But anything else, I'm leaning towards Marilla and her health.
Yes.
Yes, Teal, since you're the Marilla connoisseur, since you read her.
She is fitting to go stone blind if she overuses her eyes, overtires them, and it means that she can't engage in her hobbies. And she might not be able to look after the house for herself, which is very sad.
That is very sad. Yeah, I would be so terrified if somebody told me that I was about to lose my eyesight, because first of all, I can't do my job if I were to be stone blind. But even more so for like in that world, because it's like your world just absolutely gets narrowed down. Yeah, like you gotta hand it to like modern times. Like there's a lot more consideration and more accessibilities, more resources when you have a disability. Back then it was just like tough luck. Oh my gosh. So yeah, poor Marilla. But not quite as poor, because we got to hear her confess that, she confessed to Anne that, she thinks of her as somebody very dear, like family, like her own flesh and blood. But also, it's because of Anne that she gets to stay in Green Gables. So there's a situation, the financial situation. The bank failed, so there were still some outstanding debts and stuff. She worries about. So to deal with the financial situation and not being able to run her farm by herself, she decides she is thinking about selling Green Gables. Can you guys imagine how terrible that would be? What does Anne have to say about it, though? And would you do the
Decides
same?
to stay with Marilla.
Mm-hmm. Would you do the same as Anne did, to give up the scholarship?
Me personally, no. But I want to say that I am going to say goodbye now. I'm really falling asleep here. So
Good night, Yukihime. Thank you for
Good
reading,
night,
Anne.
bye, guys.
Yukihime.
I had a
Bye.
lot of fun. Hope I didn't sound too
Bye.
sleepy during the read. Bye.
Bye. Yes, Yukihime's from Europe. Is part of the Europe gang, so it's the middle of the night for her. So thank you, Yukihime. Bravo, bravo for doing your
Yeah.
best reading.
So there's another person from Euro Gang that I'm kind of surprised we haven't heard from in a long time.
Mhm.
Vincent, where the hell are you?
Ah, Vincent. Yeah, we do miss him. The last update we heard though was that he had a job, so his hours did not allow him to join the lives that much, which is really sad because I do miss our
That is
Vince.
true. He did say.
Yeah,
I still miss him.
yeah, of course.
Hey, by the way, a certain someone put some AI art in the chat.
Okay, all right. I'll go and check it out. Let's see. Oh, Kihana also says, at least the book ended with her finally making amends with Gilbert. Yes! Yes, it would have been a tragedy if she had repeated Marilla's mistake and just...
He is no longer he who shall not be named.
Yeah. I like how she's like, we haven't been good friends, we've been good enemies. Mhm. And also to Liz, thank you so much, Liz, for the super chat. Aw. Yeah, their journey is going to be a long one. Yeah, well, no spoilers. Patrick though is already conjecturing that they're gonna get married, and I don't know. Don't go and cash that check just yet.
I'm expecting many, many, many babies.
I don't know. There will be babies, but whose babies will they be? I can't say that we follow Anne, but it's not for certain that it's going to be Gilbert, you guys. I will not spoil you. Just don't take it for granted. Okay? That's all I gotta say. But thank you so much, Liz, for the super chat. Yes. If you want to know what happens in the long journey, then you better go and read the rest of the Anne books. For those of you who haven't read them. Akihana says, it certainly was quite a martyr of Marilla to even volunteer to suffer in blindness alone just so Anne could go to college with her scholarship. Aw. Yeah, so Marilla is like, well, she kind of resigned to like a sad fate. I'm like, no, Marilla, you deserve happiness. So a lot of times people are like, yeah, you do a good deed. And there's a joke that's like, yeah, no good deed goes unpunished, right? Like you actually do things, but like for nothing. Sometimes it feels like that. But I feel like every single time you do something good, a good turn for somebody, you are always going to be rewarded. Probably not in the present, but life always has a way of coming back to hand out rewards or, karma. Rewards or whatever is the opposite of rewards, punishments, I guess, for what you did before. And I think this is one of the things, like Marilla didn't know it, and Matthew didn't know it either. I think Matthew was able to go in peace also, because he knew that Marilla wouldn't be alone. I think that would have given him great anguish knowing that his sister was going to be left alone. So they have each other, Anne and Marilla. So that's really sweet. And as you guys know, I am a Marilla fan. Like I love Marilla. I love her character. I didn't always love her, but as I've grown older, I kind of see myself a little bit in Marilla. And so just seeing how, and they started at such opposites. They're such opposites, but by the time the story ends, like you can see that they're kind of similar in so many ways. Not just in how Marilla also quarreled and she was too proud with the Blythe boy, but also you can see it in how she and Anne both have like a friendship going on. Like they both like to sit together and at twilight, and you know, they both have a good heart. So that's lovely. I feel like I'm blabbing and blabbing, and you guys, any thoughts about anything?
No, you pretty much covered it.
I did want to say something, and it kind of applies to the entire book. I love the way in which the characters, but especially Anne in this book, turn to nature as a source of comfort, of internal joy. Because it's a really great place to get your joy. It doesn't cost anyone anything. You can just go and enjoy nature. And nature, you know, is very beautiful. It's very easy to find comfort in. And this book reminds us of that, I think.
Indeed. So it reminds me of one of the discussions we had in one of the read-alongs about the source of joy. Like, money can't give you joy, right? We talked about that. And I think, well, I did say, like, I don't discount money. Like, don't worry, guys. I know where the important things are. And yeah, a lot of the best things in life are free, and one of those things is nature. And I think that in nature you can appreciate many things. If you're religious, nature is it's another place where you can read about God. That's like one of the phrases that is used. But also, I think Ella Montgomery, she was also like an avid appreciator, enjoyer of her surroundings. She was a poet, so she communed, and she really drew lots of inspiration from nature, and we can see that. And all in all, just being out in nature is so good for you. You just going out for a walk, it just does so much good for you, not just like emotionally, which it does, but also like there's something about just going out there and breathing in good fresh air that's just so good for you. I really like that too. Look, Crusher is here. Hey, Crusher. Welcome.
Hey, everyone.
About time you got over here, damn it.
So
yeah, I've been here technically. I just decided to pop in.
Well, thank you for condescending to join us. So what did you think of how Anne of Green Gables ended?
It feels like the beginning of a journey and not the end of a journey.
Beautifully put. Yeah, there's the symbolism of the bend in the road. What did you guys think of how Anne thought about it, that symbolism?
I think it's really nice and sweet that she's looking to the future. And another thing I was thinking on is it's Bend in the Road. I kept having the song Just Around the River Bend just flow into my mind. It's like it's stuck.
Just around the river bend. I look once more.
Just around the river bend. Stop it! Pocahontas was my favorite. So, yeah, for sure. So, I think it's also really nice because, like a lot of times, you guys, I don't know about you, but one of the things about growing up is realizing that all your best laid plans just don't happen, and you can either take those realizations, you can take them like, okay, I will make the best of the situation, or you could be absolutely bitter and just be like, so be like Anne, you guys. Sometimes life doesn't work out the way you want it to. Sometimes you have to make detours. I think it's the
Or just
message
not
is-
have plans at all.
I guess sometimes you do need a plan or two. But whatever the case, make sure you enjoy the journey, because that's basically what life is. It's not achieving, going from point A to, oh yes, I reached point B, happiness and joy, yay. No, it's the journey. The journey is more important than the destination. Well, both are important, but journey comes first. Journey before destination. Any Stormlight Archive readers here? No? Yes? No? Okay, never mind. Anything else about Anne that you want to point out?
I still want to read the rest of the books.
Canada. I want to visit Green Gables, like, in person.
Oh, yes. Do you guys know that they modeled the anime precisely after the Green Gables site in Canada? So if you go to Canada and you look up Anne of Green Gables, there's actually the farmhouse. And in the anime, that's a place, like down to the kitchen sofa and the stove. Everything looks exactly the same. So it's really neat. And it's super beautiful. So yes, I also want to go. Hey, Fergie, if you're there, what if a whole bunch of us decide to go to like Nova Scotia? We pick you up, we go over there, you give us a tour of the area.
You'd probably
Yes,
tell us to shove up.
We shall abduct you and force you to do Canada tourist stuff.
You'd probably be like,
opposed to
never!
friends, but like
Never.
Yeah.
One day we will do a Cerber trip or something. I don't know, whatever. Let Canada be our first reunion place. Because who wants to come to California? It's expensive and hot and whatnot.
Especially right now.
I want to travel. I want to travel, fly on a plane, and go somewhere. I don't want the first reunion to be here. I want it to be somewhere else. Alright, darlings, I think that covers most of our discussion and our read-alongs. Again, if you want to follow us for the next book that we read, we're going to be at the Chattering Magpie Reads. Also, Friday, we don't have a read-along because we're done, of course. But we are going to be watching The Count of Monte Cristo. And I will be sharing in the description or somewhere in the comments here, I will be sharing a link. You can join us to watch it. It'll be at 1 o'clock Pacific time. You do not have to be a member of this channel, though if you want to, I would love it. It's a guest
Yes,
pass.
we definitely welcome you.
It's a guest pass, so you can just come in as a guest and watch the movie and talk to us, and we would love you, and we will watch the movie. It's a long movie. It's like 3 hours almost. A little under 3 hours. But you will enjoy it. It's a very, very good movie. It's an excellent story. I haven't read the book. I've only watched the movies. Or the movie. One movie. But highly recommend it. So please join us. I would love it if you do. Okay? I think that covers...
Wait, did you guys see the AI art yet?
Oh! Thank you! See, this is why I need you to come here, so you can remind me.
I told her about it, but she still hasn't pulled it up.
Okay, never mind.
Hold on, sheesh. I honestly forgot. Jeez. So you see what I have to put up with, you guys. They will never let me live anything down. Alright.
Absolutely not.
Okay, here we go. It says, I'm going blind, Anne. I have to sell Anne of Green Gables. Wow, I didn't know you could do comics. Interesting. Okay. I'm going blind, Anne. I have to sell Green Gables. Anne is sad. And she says, I'll stay with you at Green Gables. And then Gilbert says, you can have the position, Anne. And but I've come to the bend of the road. Not but, it will be like, and I've come to the bend in the road. I like how it's a nice summary of the last chapter. Thank you for that. I honestly didn't know you could make comics. What? I am learning something new. Thank you for
AI
sharing,
can do a
Crusher.
lot of things. You should see some of the videos they got out there.
Oh, I've seen videos. And thank you again, Crusher. Oh, the Crusher for a super chat. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the support. I am so glad that you guys were able to join us for these several read-alongs. We did 19 in all. And I'm also really thankful for the following people who read and who consistently showed up to these read-alongs. We had Teal, who read Marilla in this read-along, Yukihime, who read Anne, Patrick, who read Mrs. Rachel, Butterfly, who read Diana. Patrick also read Matthew and Gilbert, and yeah, another one. Butterfly did Mrs. Allen. Highlights were brought to you all by Teal in this read-along, though Harumi did some of the other ones in other chapters, so thank you, Harumi, wherever you are. Come back to us. We miss you. So yeah, you guys.
Sleep well.
Yeah, it's a student. She's a student, so she has limited time. Yeah. Just know, Harumi, that we love you and we miss you, and we can't wait for you to come back to us. And so, finally, thank you to Patrick, Liz, and Crusher, who supported this channel via a super chat during the stream. And if you want to support this channel, you can always just like and comment, or you can do so by sharing, spreading the word, liking those shorts, and if you so desire, you can also click on that join button below and become a member. Thank you. Alright, gang, time to go. We will see you. Well, we will see you in the other channel, but for now, I don't know if we'll be able to read anything copyrighted in this channel, so just yeah. Thank you all for joining us.
Is Count of Monte Cristo copyrighted still?
It's not.
Oh no,
it's not. But it's not really.
Certain translations are.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna read an older translation, and because it does, Count of Monte Cristo doesn't really fall into any of the Chattering Magpie or anime or Japanese stuff, then I'm gonna put on the other channel so it doesn't clog up.
Well, there is
one.
an anime.
Yeah, but I'm not
But,
gonna talk
yeah.
about it or cover it. So yeah.
Fair.
it's also very different than the book in some ways.
I haven't watched it, so I'm gonna have to check that out. We'll talk about it after after the live. All right, but for now, say bye-bye, gang, and thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. We will see you on Friday if you want to come watch a movie, or Wednesday again on the other channel. Take care. Bye, gang.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
See you, everyone.
Adios, everybody.
Arrivederci.